शायोर लीला लहरी।
ओम सर्वधर्मस्थापकस्त्वं सर्वधर्मस्वरूपकः आचार्याणां महाचार्यो रामकृष्णाय ते नमः. We are studying Sri Ramakrishna, the Great Master, second part, as the spiritual aspirant or struggler or sadhak, and we are now in the third chapter. Name of the chapter is First Manifestation of the Attitude of a Sadhak. And we have read certain paras describing his state of mind before he became a sadhak. We may say prerequisites of becoming a sadhak. And in that, he has first enumerated 6 points, then averaged them into 3. That is the basic nature of his mind. And the actions or reactions of the world produce these 6. Purity, selflessness, and unique faith. Purity, selflessness, and unique faith. And he has described many other things which were extraordinary because he was God. And he has given some examples of all these things. Now, we come to para 8, according to the heading of the chapter. Because here, these are his characteristics. But sadhana starts only after Vivek and Vairagya. And so, we have to come to that point. The first manifestation of the mood of an aspirant, I will learn not the art of bundling rice and plantain, but that which produces right knowledge. So he has observed that people who become scholars, pandits, especially the Brahmins, and they study the Karmakanda type knowledge. Type means based on Karmakanda, there are many other things, smritis, that is as priest, work as priest. And what is the result? The fees were not so much in common, but they used to be given rice and plantains, usually. So, collecting rice and plantains, that means we can translate in the modern words, knowledge which will give me occupation and money. Knowledge which will give me money, I do not want that knowledge. But there is other knowledge, which will, that is the true knowledge, knowledge of the real nature of man, knowledge of the ultimate reality. And that is the true knowledge, knowledge of the truth or true knowledge. All our knowledge is ignorance or wrong knowledge. So, that study, that knowledge, which will give me right knowledge, that I want to study. So this is the clear indication that he becomes a sadhak. He has become a sadhak or is about to become a sadhak. Now, circumstances have to be described, where and why he said so. We see the first definite manifestation of the attitude of an aspirant, definite manifestation in the master's life, because he was absorbed this and that. That is not his sadhana, that is his mind. When he was in his brother's school in Calcutta, on the day when Ramkumar, his eldest brother, 20 years senior to him, like his father, Ramkumar, the eldest brother, admonished him to apply his mind to the acquisition of learning. To which he clearly replied, I do not want to learn the art of boiling rice and plantain. What I do want, that means not that I don't want to study. No, I do not want that type of knowledge, but this type of knowledge. What I do want, is to have that which produces right knowledge and enables man truly to achieve the aim of his life. Yes, that is connected. If we get true knowledge of our own nature, of reality, then we have reached the goal of life. So, that is what I want. I want that knowledge by which my knowledge becomes true and I achieve the goal of life. This is not the goal of life to bundle plantains and rice. Any Vidya, engineering, doctor, IAS, BAS, MAS, all these lead to financial gain. And you can spend your life, but you will not go anywhere. You will not achieve anything. You will remain the same man as you were. So that I do not want. This clear cut position of his mind tells that he is now going to do some sadhana. Because Saradan Swamiji has already described sadhana is the attempt to realize that God lives in everything, that he has already told us. So this leads to that. He was then about 17 years of age, about 17. Knowing that there was little chance of his education progressing in the village school, his guardians consulted one another and brought him to Calcutta. This in the childhood, when his elder brother came to Calcutta, his other elder brother was had two types of attitude towards Sri Ramakrishna. One is that he knew that Sri Ramakrishna's mind will never mislead him. And secondly, he did not have that school teacher type of attitude or elder brother type of attitude. You do this or you do that. That were the two reasons. So he was going to school, not going to school, almost stopped going to school. And so it is said that knowing that there was little chance of his education progressing in the village school, his guardians, his mother, other brothers, his guardians consulted one another and brought him to Calcutta. His religious minded eldest brother. So here we'll see a clear difference. Religious minded does not make a man sadhak. Understand? Religious minded, that means he is not bereft of faith in God, and whatever our scriptures are telling, whatever the guidelines of virtue and vice, that is what is religion. And that his elder brother was religious minded man. His religious minded eldest brother, well versed in astrology and smriti, Jyotish Shastra and Smriti Shastra. In Smriti, certain mandates, if this happens, you should do this, if there's expect this, then you should do this. That is in the Smriti Shastra. Social laws based upon authority of the Vedas is called the Smriti. And side by side, one of the Vedangas is astrology. Vedanga is of course astronomy, but associated with that is astrology, Graha Jyotish and Phala Jyotish. In the original, I believe, it should be only Jyotish. Jyotish. So originally is only Jyotish. That means for a Jyotish mainly. Not so much of mathematical Jyotish, but Phala Jyotish. His religious-minded eldest brother, well-versed in astrology and smriti, had started a Sanskrit school near the house of the late Digambar Mitra at Jamapukur, one of the areas of Calcutta, Jamapukur, and was teaching some pupils. He took charge of the daily service of deities in some rich families of that quarter, besides the Mitra family. Digambar Mitra, near his house, he was opened the school. So in Digambar Mitra's house, he was also worshipping the deities, and in some other houses in the neighborhood. It took him most of his time to give lessons to students after finishing his daily religious duties. Then his own religious duties daily means his own annik, what you call, every day he has to do something, plus the worship. Therefore, it proved very difficult for him in a short time to go twice daily to different houses and perform the service. Generally, puja is done in the morning and the evening. Nor was he at the same time able to give it up so hastily because income from school was not that much. For the income from the school by way of farewell gifts, the school does not have fixed fees in those days. Only gifts, etc. For the income from the school by way of farewell gifts was very small and was daily decreasing. How could the household affairs be managed if he gave up what he was receiving as fee for the service of the deities? Weighing these ideas in his mind, at last he brought his youngest brother to Calcutta, placed him in charge of the service of the deities, and applied himself to the work of teaching. So divided into two, that worshipping the deities is his work and he should learn in the school. And Ramkumar would teach. The master's activities at the Jamapukur Toll. Toll means Sanskrit school. Toll is the popular name of a Sanskrit school. On arriving at Calcutta, Gadadhar got his favorite work and performed it with pleasure. Because in the house also, as soon as he got the Upanan Sanskar and became fit for puja, he used to spend the time in puja. Besides serving his eldest brother, some seva to his eldest brother, he also studied a little. So that is a little, and he is doing mainly puja work. Possessed of noble qualities, the pleasant-looking boy became dear to all the people in a short time where he was doing puja. The veiled ladies of the respectable families of this place, veil was in practice that started from the Mohammedans' attack on India. Then this veil came in vogue. The veiled ladies of the respectable families of this place, even like those of Kamarpukur, did not feel any hesitation in appearing before him when they became acquainted with his smartness. Appearing before me means veil is not necessary in his presence. When they became acquainted with his smartness, guileless behavior, sweet conversation, and devotion to the gods, they were eager to get some odd jobs done by him and to listen to his devotional songs. So, along with puja, some odd jobs, errand boy like, he has to do. And to listen to his devotional song, because doing those odd jobs, he will be in front of them. That is the idea. Here also, as in Kamarpukur, the boy became a center of attraction of a group of loving people around him without any effort on his part. He did not try to influence people or any such thing to show, to become popular, but because of his nature, he became dear to the people who had this type of attitude, loving people. Whenever, that means loving people loved him. Whenever he had leisure, the boy met those men and women and joyfully spent some time in their company. Therefore, it is clear that the boy made no better progress in his studies here also. Although Ramkumar observed all this, he could not suddenly mention it to his brother, for he had already deprived the mother's dear youngest pet child of the pleasure of her affection. He has brought him away from his mother and had brought him far away practically for his own convenience. Should he, over and above this, put obstacles in the way of the boy's enjoyment? When attracted by his noble qualities, people were lovingly invited him to their houses, and the boy too felt happy at them. And if he did so, would not the life of the boy in Calcutta be as unbearable as in a forest? If there were no wants in the family, it would not have been necessary at all to take the boy away from his mother. It would have been enough if the boy had been sent to some village near Kamarpukur to study under a learned scholar. In that case, the boy might have been with his mother and been educated at the same time. Although, so all this, Ramkumar's mind, Sardan Swamiji has entered and is describing in detail what is the thought process going on in Ramkumar. He has brought the boy for his own selfish ends because there is want in the family. He has deprived the boy love of his mother, and boy has found his own circle here and is happy with them. Then to press him to study more will hurt the boy. Although Ramkumar did not complain for some time on account of these considerations, still urged by a sense of duty. Now within Ramkumar, other parties there is the guardian. So if this continues and the boy does not study, later on how will he earn his money? That is the point. For thinking of the boy, thinking of his own circumstances, he did not want to trouble the boy. But future of the boy he has to think, and his idea is like our present day world, study which will make you enable to earn money and earn money. Study which enables you to earn money and then with that help earn money. That is the normal life throughout the world. Urged by sense of duty, he admonished the boy mildly one day and asked him to apply his mind to studies. For someday the simple-hearted, self-forgetful boy would have to fend for himself. If he did not now learn how to guide himself on the path leading to the improvement of his worldly affairs, could he do so in future? Therefore, it is clear that brotherly love and worldly experience moved Ramkumar to act that way. His experience in the world and he is the elder brother, so his duty. Ramkumar's ignorance of the nature of his brother's mind. So inside how the mind was being developed, as Saradananda Swamiji has described up till now, that development Ramkumar had not seen. Although he had fallen into difficulties arising out of the selfish, harsh sways of the world and acquired some experience, Ramkumar, the affectionate Ramkumar. So these are Ramkumar's qualities. Acquired some experience and affectionate. Ramkumar did not know much of the extraordinary nature of the mind of his youngest brother. which the middle brother had observed in Kamarpukur. He could not realize even in his dream that young as he looked, the boy could detect the cause of the lifelong labor and efforts of the worldly man, and knowing ephemeral fame and enjoyment to be worthless. Ephemeral means now fame is there, now calumny comes, so that fame has no value and enjoyment also no value. I had a formula on that. If you try to enjoy, you cannot improve, and that enjoyment also will slip away. On the other hand, if you struggle for improvement, joy will, not enjoyment, even not like the word, joy will follow you. If you try to go on improving, joy will follow you. And if you run after enjoyment, improvement will not come, and that enjoyment also will slip away. That is the lesson everybody has to learn in life. But the boy had learned that, which the Ramkumar did not know. He could not realize even in his dream that young as he looked, the boy could detect the cause of the lifelong labor and efforts of the worldly man, and knowing ephemeral fame and enjoyment to be worthless, could fix a different aim for human life. So this is not human-made aim, huh? It is a natural aim. Swami Vivekananda has coined this like this. Each soul is potentially divine. So as a corollary of this, the goal is to manifest this divinity within. So that is the natural, real aim of life. What we set up as aims are nowhere. Because after we get that, what? Has the life been fulfilled? No. So that I'll study science, this, that does not fulfill the aim of life. So he had different aim of life. Unmoved by the rebuke, when the simple-hearted boy told him the thoughts of his heart in the above-mentioned way, he could not comprehend his words. Ramkumar could not comprehend what the boy is telling. I don't want this education and I want education which gives right knowledge and fulfill the aim of life. He had never thought in that way. So that is sadhana, clear-cut distinction. This direction or that direction. He thought that the boy, a pet of his parents, was piqued or annoyed at being thus scolded for the first time in his life, and had therefore answered him in that way. So that is the worldly human mind, though he was experienced in so many ways, not of this thing. And so he thought that because I have scolded him, he has reacted. That day, the truthful boy tried his best to explain to him the thoughts of his heart. This is the main sentence, but he tried to explain him the thoughts of his heart. He expressed variously the idea that he did not feel inclined to go in for a breadwinning education. In various ways, he has explained that. But who would listen to the words of a boy? A boy is, after all, a boy. If even a grown-up person is seen to be above selfish effort, we solemnly declare that his brain has been deranged. So general humanity, Sadhana Swamiji has brought here, that a grown-up man, when he says that I want to go in for spirituality, we think his brain is deranged. Anything out of the common run of man, we call it abnormal, forgetting that abnormal means above normal and deranged brain is subnormal. We equate both because not normal. That day, Ramkumar did not understand those words of the boy. Moreover, just as when we chastise an object, so what happened? Reaction of the reaction. Moreover, just as when we chastise an object of our love, we repent it the next moment and try to regain our peace of mind by loving him 100-fold more than before. This is Ramkumar's mind analyzed by Saradananda. Oh, he has become hurt, so expresses more love for him to gain his own peace. So also Ramkumar behaved with his brother for some time after this. For some time, at least he feels that the relation is natural now. But when we see the series of Gadadhar's actions, one after another, we get a clear proof of the fact that since then he was seeking an opportunity to fulfill the desire of his heart. So now he wants to do sadhana and he is seeking an opportunity to go in that direction. And divine dispensation made it ready. Maybe because he is God himself, but he is the prototype of man. So we should see a sincere struggle if arises, we do get that opportunity. The worldly condition of Ramkumar, the current of events in the life of the master and his elder brother flowed a little fast during the next 2 years after this event. The pecuniary condition of his brother was daily deteriorating, and although he tried in various ways, he could not improve it. That's all providence. Otherwise, he was a big scholar. He pondered much in his mind whether he should close his school and take to some other job. But he could not come to any decision. He could clearly understand in his heart of hearts that if he spent his days that way, instead of soon adopting some other means for the management of his worldly affairs, he would be involved in debts and consequently suffer. But what means was he to adopt? For he had learned no other occupation than those of teaching, performing sacrifices, and officiating in them. Either doing sacrifices themselves or officiating in them and teaching. I asked somebody why he has taken up the job of a lecturer. The person said me, it is natural. Studying is over, now teaching. Funny thing I will tell you. Same thing I find in the Vedantis. After studying Vedanta, what you have to do is teach. Without attempt at realizing either you or your students. That is what you find in the world. And had he the energy and perseverance at this period of his life to make an attempt to learn some lucrative profession suited to the times. Again, even if he did acquire an art of that nature and tried to earn money, it would surely be difficult for him to get time to perform worship and his daily religious duty. So religious minded he was. He wants to do puja every day. He wants to do his Sandhya Vandana every day. So if he gets a full-time job, he will not get time for that. So deciding to let Raghuveer shape his destiny according to his will, that was the tradition in the family. His father had full dependence upon Raghuveer, the family deity. So that Ramkumar also had imbibed. He turned his mind from these thoughts and continued to do with a broken heart what he had been doing so far doing. No zest, but broken heart, but continue to do. For we think Ramkumar, who had great faith in God, that is there. was content with a little. Big ambition did not have. I want to earn so much money. And being good natured was not very pushing in worldly life. Being of good nature, not pushing in worldly life. So, what a description. There now occurred by the will of God an event which showed Ramkumar a way out of that uncertainty and relieved him of all anxiety. Providence. Not only Ramkumar, but Gadadhar also gets an opening for his sadhana. So, we have studied the first manifestation of the attitude of sadhana. After that, he was looking for an opportunity to step into it. So, we move on to chapter 4 in a very different direction. The providence has to be shown. The Kali temple at Dakshineshwar. Dakshineshwar nowadays appears to be a part of Calcutta, but it was quite outside. The cause of Ramkumar starting the toll in Calcutta, the date of the starting. First, the history now. Probably Ramkumar was 45 when he started his toll in Calcutta in AD 1850. So at the age of 45, what he can learn more and earn money? Worldly wants, mishaps, etc. His wife had died. Worldly wants, mishaps, etc. had caused him anxiety for some time past. His wife died after giving birth to her only son Akshay. It is said that the sadhak Ramkumar, now Ramkumar has been addressed as a sadhak because he did get some powers, that is his sadhana. Not realizing God, not sadhana as Saradananda Swami has described so far. But there is a tendency in religious people to get some siddhis, miraculous powers by doing some effort, and that is called sadhana here. It is said that the sadhak Ramkumar predicted the death of his wife, and that has given him certain powers of seeing the future. Predicted the death of his wife and said to some members of the household that she would not survive that period. That period means when she gives birth, then she will die. That was the prediction made by Ramkumar himself. That period means when she became, for many days, she was not pregnant. So Ramkumar thought, good, may not be pregnancy, but she will live more. And then she became pregnant. When she became pregnant, then that period is that period. That pregnancy, somehow she may survive. But as soon as she gives birth to somebody, that she will not survive. That was his prediction. The master had then reached his 14th year. This was 17th year. Huh? So this is happening in Kamarpukur. Ramkumar is still in Kamarpukur. The master had reached his 14th year. Many rich and middle class people lived in the wealthy city of Calcutta. Ramkumar could remain free from worldly anxiety if he could make the students of the school proficient in learning, as it would enhance his reputation as a scholar as well. So that is the, not by the school fees, more attendance and more no. If he succeeds in teaching people, he will become famous and people will call him for this or that, and he will get more money. That is the long-fetched plan. As it would enhance his reputation as a scholar as well. He could perform religious worship and give written opinions on religious matter. That was his style, which would fetch a few additional rupees. Some such thought was perhaps instrumental in bringing Ramkumar to Calcutta. Calcutta is a big city, so many opportunities of all these types will come. When he becomes known, then people will invite him. Some such thought was perhaps instrumental in bringing Ramkumar to Calcutta when he was mourning the death of his wife. Second point is that in the house he was so much associated with his wife, so he may be able to forget that separation or pain if he goes elsewhere. Or it may be that at the death of his wife, he felt a great change and void in his life. And the idea that he would be free from them to a certain extent if he were engaged in various works in a far off place made him take up that course. We have told the reader earlier the purpose for which he brought the master to Calcutta. So, because he became too busy there, and so he brought master to, because master was not getting educated in Kamarpukur, and here he would be helpful to him also and learn also. We had told the reader earlier the purpose for which he brought the master to Calcutta a few years after the inception of the school at Jamapukur, and the manner in which the master spent the first 3 years after his arrival there in AD 1852. So at the age of 14 all that happened, then master was brought to Jamapur and 3 years he had passed in that school. We must turn our attention elsewhere. So now the other side. We must turn our attention elsewhere if we want to know the events of the master's life since that period. The reader must now direct his attention to the series of events that were taking place by the will of God in a very well-known family in another quarter in Calcutta. At that time, Ramkumar had enrolled himself in the party of Chatubabu in order to increase his income from farewell gifts and improving the conditions of his school. So, generally, when people require some priest or something, they would approach agents. And that was the system. These priests would be attached to that agent. So, some groups get attached to some agent. So, Ramkumar, to be invited by people, had got attached to Chatubabu. That would increase his income from farewell gifts and condition of the school also will be able to improve. Rani Rasmani. The famous Rani Rasmani lived in Jan Bazar in the south of Calcutta. Dakshineshwar is extreme north of Calcutta and Jan Bazar is in South Calcutta. She was the mother of 4 daughters and became a widow at 44. She inherited the huge property of her husband Rajachandra Das. Since then, she had managed it herself and improved it much and had thus become well known to the people of Calcutta. Her husband had a lot of money, properties, and she improved upon that. She became famous and endeared herself to all. So not only money, her nature. Not merely by her ability in managing the property, but also by her innumerable other virtues and good actions, such as her faith in God primarily. her energy, courage, intelligence, and presence of mind, and above all, her sympathy for the poor, expressed through her increasing gifts and unstinted distribution of food to all. So here, two footnotes are marked, that is, energy. Should it be only energy? Oh, Ojasvita. Ojasvita. How we should translate it? Now this Ojas is a energy of higher type. So, and that she possesses. A energy coupled with nobility. That is Ojasvita. And the example is given. There was, it is said, a barrack of English soldiers situated near the Janbazar house of the Rani. Drunk and unrestrained, the soldiers one day overcame the gatekeepers by force, entered the house, and began to plunder it. Mathur Babu, the son-in-law of the Rani, and other menfolk were then out on business. Unopposed, the soldiers were almost ready to enter the inner apartment when the Rani took up arms, ready to oppose them personally. That is that energy. And that means not the usual women, what can we do? That is the energy. And the second footnote is about the sympathy for the poor. This is a wonderful event. Each tells us about the intelligence also. Her fight with the government. It is said that the British government imposed a tax on the fishermen for catching fish in the Ganga. Many of these fishermen dwelt in the estate of the Rani. Oppressed on account of the imposition of tax, they narrated their tale of sorrow to her. The Rani heard it and told them not to be afraid. For a big sum of money, she took on lease that part of the river for catching fish. I want to catch fish. So, this part of the Ganges will be on lease, not my ownership, but like my ownership for a particular period of time. That is called lease. The government thought that the Rani would carry on a business in fish. And as soon as the said right was obtained, the Rani put chains across the river in many places. This made it almost impossible for ships and other vessels of the government to enter the river. Enter the river from the seaside. Almost impossible. That means you have to request to open the chain and like that, like that. When the government protested against that action of the Rani, she sent word, I have purchased the right of catching fish in the river on payment of a large sum of money to you. What I have done is in accordance with that right. If ships and other vessels always pass through the river, the fish will flee elsewhere and I shall stand to lose much. That was their agreement. How can I therefore remove the chains from the river? But if you agree to abolish the new tax on the right to catch fish in the river, I, for my part, am ready to give up my right voluntarily. So that was the trick. Even after spending money, she was ready to give up right if the tax on the fishermen was removed. So finally, it is the fishermen for whom she has spent that money. There will otherwise be litigation and the government will have to pay damages to me. It is said that owing to that reasonable statement of the Rani and also knowing that she was doing so in order to protect the poor fishermen, the government abolished that tax in a short time. The fishermen then caught fish free of any tax and blessed the Rani. That is, some more acts of charity, nobility, religious merit are being described in the footnote. The Rani evinced great interest in all matters conducive to the good of the people. We find the proof of it in the markets at Sonai, Belagata and Bhawanipur. So, for the good of the people, she is spending money and doing many things. Those who know history will think of Ahilya Holkar. It is not that much, but of that type. Of the markets at Sonai, Belgata and Bhawanipur in the Ghat, and the house for the dying at Kalighat. Kalighat is near the old course of the Ganga, Adi Ganga. And there, people come to die at the bank of the Ganga. Now, there is time for that death. So, there is a shelter house she built for that. In the Ghat at Ganga at Halishar, in the road to Puri, for some distance from the other side of Suvarna Rekha, another small river, and in many other virtuous acts. The Rani went on pilgrimage to Ganga Sagar, where Ganga meets Sagar. Triveni. Triveni is Allahabad. Navadvip, Chaitanya's place. Agradvip, another place of pilgrimage, and Puri, Jagannath Dev, and spent vast sums of money in the names of gods. Moreover, she protected the tenants of the estate of Makimpur against the oppression of the indigo planters. So, indigo planters oppressed the poor people, and there she helped them in this way. She spent 10,000 rupees, and this time, 10,000, and got the Madhumati connected with Navaganga by the canal of Tona. So that is a brilliant idea. If two rivers are joined by a canal, then we get regular supply in many places. These and various other acts of public utility stand to her credit. So this gave her the Upadhi of Rani. She was not a queen otherwise. But her husband was called Raja Rajchandra Das. So she is Rani. The Rani's devotion to the goddess. Now that is the main center on which all this is going on. So that is described now. And that will be useful for Ramkumar and Thakur. Endowed with many virtues. No. After the footnote we are going. Unstinted distribution of food to all. By her noble qualities and actions, she, although born in a Kaivarta family, Kaivarta means fisherman. So her community is what today we call scheduled caste, one of the scheduled caste, and that is fishermen. So from caste point of view, a very low caste, but proved herself worthy of her appellation, the Rani, and attracted the heartfelt love and reverence of all groups of people irrespective of caste because of her all these noble activities. The Rani's daughters were married and had children at the time we are speaking of. Then the third daughter of the Rani had died and had left behind only a son. Thinking that the said event would estrange the debonair Mathuranath, her son-in-law. Priyadarshan is the Bengali word. Debonair means Priyadarshan, good looking. Thinking that the said event would estrange the good looking Mathuranath, her third son-in-law, from the family, the Rani married her fourth daughter Jagadamba Dasi to him and made him her own again. The descendants of the four daughters of Rani are living off till this day, until Sardanji's day. And he has given a chart. For the information of the reader, we quote here a genealogical table of Rani Rasmani from the booklet Sri Dakshineshwar. Rani Rasmani, Rajchandra Das, eldest daughter Padma Mani, married to Ramchandra Das. Second daughter Kumari Pyari Kumari, named, married to Pyari Chaudhary. Pyari, Pyari Lal Nath something. In Bengali, the first part only is given. And then third daughter was Karunamayi, fourth Jagdamba, both married to Mathuranath Vishwas. Now, the Rani's devotion to the goddess. Endowed with many virtues, Rani Rasmani bore great devotion to the holy feet of the goddess Kali. Sri Rasmani Dasi, longing for the feet of Kali. Kali Charana Vilashi Rasmani Dasi, were the words engraved in the official seal of her estate. We have heard from the master himself that the Rani's devotion to the goddess was expressed in all her words and actions, like this seal. So we'll take up now Rani. The Rani got divine instruction when she was getting ready to go to Kashi. Let me say tomorrow this. This will complete how Ramkumar and Thakur came to Dakshineshwar. Om Sarvadharma Sthapakastvam Sarvadharma Swarupakaha Acharyanam Mahacharyo Ramakrishnaya Te Namaha. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.